Did I or did I not say that I will make a Notion guide? The answer is yes, I did. And I'm here today to fulfill that promise. Hi, hello, welcome back or welcome in. On this channel, I share my writing journey and everything that has to do with the activity. You'll find writing vlogs, book cover making processes, plotting and outlining processes, but also guides about the various platforms and tools that I use. Anyways, that was just a little window as to what you'll find on my page. Well, without further ado, let us just get into it. What is Notion for? The short answer is for almost everything you want to do. To me, Notion is like a huge closet with a lot of undivided space and a bunch of extra tools, which gives its user a lot of freedom as to how to use it or how to organize their belongings in it. It is entirely up to you to manage what is between your hands, and if you're not 100% sure what you want to do with it, it might get a bit confusing. I feel like that is both the strength and weakness of Notion. Well, maybe the term weakness is a bit strong, but it does throw people off. But like I said, Notion offers you many tools and options to work with. You can personalize it to your heart's desire, and it will look very different depending on who creates the pages. For example, I am a writer and I have ADHD, so I made the kind of labyrinth that would be easy for me to navigate. However, and before going to personalization and deeper in the detail, I think it's necessary to look at the overall basics, which you will need in order to navigate. First things first, we have this bar right here. Here is your account and its details. All you need in order to work with Notion is a Google account. So, I'm going to log out and use a different email in order to show you what it will first look like when you first start a new account. For a smoother experience, I advise you to make or open your account to follow along. It should help you familiarize with the environment even quicker. So, in order to get Notion, you will go to their official website. You just sign up with your Google account, and once that's done, you can go ahead and get their desktop app, which is available. It's pretty simple. I personally made sure to pin it to my taskbar like so. Now, you will note that they have a lot of documentation and guides on their website. And if you prefer reading, then I guess you'll stay here. But for those of you that prefer things done before their eyes, then follow along. This tutorial will be quite long, and I first thought I could break it down to multiple parts, but I already have a series tutorial on the channel. Adding one would be overkill, so I will timecode the various sections of this video based on their topic. I will go as deep as I can, but not the Mariana Trench levels of deep. Although, it'll probably be all you will need to start working with Notion anyways. But as such, if you have a particular question at any given time, or if you need me to elaborate on something, I can make a separate video for that. Anyways, this is the first thing you will see when logging into your new account for the first time. You can pick your preferred language here and then decide which to pick, which to click. I will click on Personal Life. Then, do you wish to use it alone or not? And then select your interests. But this step is skippable, and that's exactly what we're going to do. After that, you select your plan. I, of course, am going with the free plan. There isn't much I can say about the paid plan, as I have never worked with it. It's going It's going to demand access to your calendar and a few things. I will skip this part too. Now, it asks you to download the desktop app. I will skip this only because I already have it. And here's what it looks like when it's a brand new account. We will look at the page and this side later. Let us go back to this column. This is where all of the info for your account lie. Tells you what sort of plan you have. Right under it is the settings. In the preferences, you'll be able to pick light or dark modes. You can edit your preferred language and time based on your time zone. You can decide whether to open links in the app if you have it, you have the app or in your browser. You can also decide which page you'll see first upon opening Notion. For this one, you'll have more options if you use a desktop app. For example, you'll be able to set a default page that will open with Notion. It'll be like your own homepage. About privacy, it talks of cookies and people that can find you in order to add you on Notion, but for now, this isn't interesting since I am focusing on solo work before teamwork. I'd like to skip the notification section since it's not really the core of what I want to show you, but you can explore each and every one of these on your own time. Connections. I think it allows you to connect your Notion account to other accounts from different platforms. For example, for me, I've connected my Notion space to my Google Drive and Whimsical account. For general, you'll find your name and profile picture, a list of trusted emails that can automatically join your workspace if you want that, and the feature that interests me. You can export your space as HTML pages, basic markdown, or PDF. We will see an example of this at the end of this tutorial. These three aren't really something I've necessarily paid attention to since, again, I work alone. And finally, the danger zone. Don't go accidentally deleting your workspace. This section is something you'll pay more attention to if you want or if you invite other people to your space or work in groups. You guessed it, I'll skip this part because I do not use it. Same thing for team spaces. Now, for Notion AI, I am not going to lie to you. While I have nothing against AI, I haven't really been using it all that much, and so every time a new feature about Notion AI rolls in, I just ignore it. But from what I see, even this is more useful if you work with a team and not alone. Public pages. From what I understand, you can share and publish your Notion pages online. This is something I'd like to come back to at the end of the tutorial. For connections, again, it indicates the accounts your Notion is connected to. Import allows you to import documents and integrate them into your Notion page. We will see examples of this later on. Here lies your email, and you can create new workspaces from this point. I don't know, like if you want to separate the space dedicated for your hobbies and schoolwork, for example. By adding another account, I think it allows you to switch between the two without logging out and then in again. The search bar is self-explanatory. With it, you will be able to search for anything you've created or made in your workspace. The home page will feature a prompts bar, your recently visited pages, as well as your upcoming events in the calendars you've created. The inbox will contain all of your messages and notifications. I think this one would be more lively if you work in a group space. Right under it, there is the section for private pages, meaning pages that you will create for yourself and that are going to be yours alone. You can sort the pages either manually or based on which was created last. The show here is to decide how many pages will be visible in this section. That is more important if you have multiple pages. The little plus is clearly to create new pages, of course. The shared space is for the pages you'll be working on with your teammates or whoever you have in your group. These settings are the same as what we've seen here, so I'll just move on to Marketplace. I don't really use it, but in this section you can buy or download templates for free too. People who've created or designed their own special pages share their templates for others to use. Some sell them while others give them for free. You too can share your own templates here, but that is something I've never done, so I'll skip it. I mean, if you'd like, I can add a video about this since this one promises to be quite long already. Now we can talk about our pages. Of course, there are going to be some differences between Notion in browser and the desktop app. The first one I can think of is this view right here. This is the browser view, and this is the app view. In the app, the pages you open look like actual tabs, similar to tabs you open in a browser. When you click the plus here, it opens this window so that you can choose which page to open next. You can even create a new page. Right underneath, there is the title of the currently open page as well as the section it is in, whether private or shared space, whatever. To the very side, we have the indicators of when was the page last edited, as well as who did the editing. The share button, I'd like to skip for now, as I am assuming you wish to use Notion to organize your activities in life. Again, for now. Next, this little star right here. Once you click it, see what happens? First it becomes yellow, but a new section is created in the sidebar, that of favorites. You can move it under the private section or leave it as it is. I personally left it as it was. These three dots do a whole lot of stuff, and we are going to discover these features while creating a page together. So, you saw that from the beginning, we had these three pages here. Now, to explain the main features and elements of this app, I will simply recreate these two pages that we have here. Starting with the weekly to-do list, I will split the screen and put them up like this for clarity. The first thing you will want to do is, of course, to create a page. For that, there are multiple ways. The first being up here, the second being here by clicking this little plus. As you can see, it's completely blank and dark since I work with a dark mode. That is something you can change in the settings like we already saw. Okay, so we have this image here. It's called a banner or a thumbnail or cover. You click add cover and it suggests one which you can change. You can pick one from this gallery, upload one, or put a link to one, or pick from Unsplash. Now, I can't find the exact same image they used here, so this one will do. We can reposition it like so, or whatever. Next up, this little thing here is called an icon. You can pick an emoji, an icon from what they suggest, or upload your own. You can even pick their color. Next is the title of the page here. This one cannot be customized, unfortunately. The first thing you'll notice is the space between the edge and the title. That is because we are not working with the full width of the page. In order to change that, we go to these three buttons up here and go to full width. And ta-da! Right under the title is this actual text right here. So we just go under the title, as you can see. If we press space, it opens these AI suggestions. If we type /bar, it gives us every element we can use. They are sorted by form and purpose. For this here, however, we don't need to worry ourselves. Since it's just text, we just type the damn text. Notice on the original page, the text is gray and seems sort of different. On Notion, once you select text, this bar right here shows up and hovers over it. Now I don't care about the first half here since it's about AI. You can add a comment on the selected text, but again, that is valuable if you're not working alone. You can even put an emoji reaction or suggest an edit for your teammates. Now, this part here allows you to turn this text into a different element. For example, you want to turn this simple text into a heading or large title. We will see the rest of these later. These are basic elements we see in almost every writing software. This here allows you to turn your text into a distinguishable code segment. If we look at the original page, they have this little segment. In order to copy it, you select a word that you want and turn it into a code segment. That is it. Mark as an equation is clear enough, I think. To add a link, basically means to turn the selected word or sentence into a link, like so. You can either pick an external link or a page in your workspace. The colors, you can change the color of the text itself or its background. We will take gray like the original page and no background color. These three dots is something we will see later. Now, we don't really have the option to change the font at will. All we have is these three when you go back up here. The default, serif, and mono. Next thing to create is this button, but I'd like to leave it until after I'm done with this block. To create this, first, I will add a title, a heading 1, because that's what it is on the original page, and we are copying the original page. For that, you have two choices. You can either click this little plus and pick heading 1, or you can write what you want in simple text at first and then come to the side of the block, click these little dots. Now the first thing you will see is turn into, and then you pick what you want to turn this text into. I didn't mention these at the beginning, but in addition to slash and space to bring out the elements, you can hover your cursor on the side like this with every line you are on, or every block you've already created, you have the plus sign and the dots. Next is this divider line here. So we click plus, we go down, select our divider. Right under it, we have these columns. Whenever you see them divided like this, consider them columns or separate blocks. There are 7 of them. So, if I want the exact same result, I will not just type slash and then pick 5 columns and then try to adjust the 2 additional ones, it'll be just a nightmare and it will not come out the same. Instead, I will start writing Monday on a line, then I'll go to the next line and put the next day. Then again, I will rinse and repeat until I am done with all of the days. I will then go ahead and turn each of them into a heading 3 because that is what the original page has. And then I will start picking one by one, move them around. What you need to know is that in Notion, each element has a dedicated space, either a line or a block or column. These dots here can be clicked to reveal a bunch of options, but they also can be used to drag an element around. This blue line that appears as you drag the element indicates where it will end its journey if you release the button. Look here, if I do this, then this Tuesday will simply go above my Monday. However, I want it to the side, and that is why I will drag my Tuesday until the end of the line where I can reach the limit of my previous element, which is, in this case, Monday. Once I release it, you will notice it snaps right by its side. I will again click these dots here, and instead of turn into, I will select color. This concerns the color of the entire block, which is just the heading 3 here, Monday. I will pick gray like the original page. After this, I want to put a to-do list for each column. So I'll just click next to my Monday and then tap enter. After that, I click the plus button and select to-do list element. You will do the same with Tuesday and the rest of the columns as well. Finally, we will recreate this button here. What we will make it do is that instead of redoing everything we just did at the end of every week, you can create a button that does that for you. We go back up here. You will have this panel that opens. We pick the title and icon of the button. Right under it, you have the condition that says that ensures that when the button is clicked, an action is triggered. Then you add your action. You select one of these available actions. Whether you want to add a new page, insert a block, or open a link. We want to insert a block. I will go ahead and pick this one. Then I will go copy the block I want and paste it in this space only. After that, you can make the changes you prefer, and that's it. You click done. You can also decide if the block will be inserted under the button or on top of the button. And ta-da! Now, the previous recreation focused on basic elements and how to navigate and reorganize the content of your pages. In this second recreation, I will go a little bit deeper into the elements and focus mainly on one specific category of them, databases. Databases are one of the main selling points of Notion, the bread and butter, if you will. Let's just dive into it. The next page we will recreate will be the monthly budget, which was available when the account was created. Okay, first things first, we need to create a new page. We will simply click on this plus icon here. The first thing I like to do whenever I create a new page is to use its full width. This is something we already saw. We go to the three dots here and make it full width. The second thing I always do is give it a title. Let me go ahead and pick a cover picture as well as an icon. So, we have a text element here that we can just recreate. You click and the text element is the default one. You just start typing and that's it. The next thing I want you to do is look at these blocks right here. On your account, you have this sample page too, so I want you to hover between these two table-looking elements like so. This is what I talked about before. This line that appears when you travel between them with your cursor is here to separate two columns, or in other words, two blocks or elements. So, in order to recreate all of this, the first thing that you will need to do is go back to the line and type slash. All of the elements that Notion has available to you will pop up here. First, you will have the suggestions, which is usually like their new AI features or the elements you've last used. Then right under it is the rest of the elements, and they are classified into separate categories. The first one groups all of the basic elements such as text, titles, lists, to-do lists, and some other stuff that we may or may not see later depending on time. The second group is the Notion AI stuff. I don't use them really, but you can explore them on your own time. The next group is the media group, which is self-explanatory. After that, we have the databases, which interests us right now. Then we've got the advanced block groups. I will explain most of them later in demonstration. The inline group, again, self-explanatory. And last but not least, the embedded group. These allow you to embed pages from other platforms. You want to embed a map to your page? That can be done with ease. You want something else? Also cool with Notion. Going back to our page, like I said, the first thing we need is two columns. And for that, we will go back up to our advanced block, or literally start typing column after the slash, and you will have what you want. Here we are, ready to start working with databases. These are made to store your information in whatever way you want. I know these here look like basic tables, but they are much more than that, and I will show you. Okay, so first you type slash and go to databases. You will notice that the first 7 options have view in them because they can be interconnected. You can create a table view and then create a calendar view for it. Example, this database here is in table view. If you want to view it as a gallery, I'll go to the title, then right next to it. There is this plus and create a new view for it. Here are both of my views. You see 3 cards in the gallery view because, well, there are 3 entries in the table view. It's just 2 views of the same database, and you can alternate between them. Okay, so I pick table view and ta-da! Here is my empty table. The first thing to do is name the top cards. For that, you just need to click on it and type the title. Now, for this next one here. This is a property and you will need to create it. You just click on it again. The first thing you will have to do is pick its type, based on the type of information you want to store. In this case, it is a number, so you pick number. In order to add more items, you can see what it says, add a new item. I will just put random numbers for the sake of showing you the next features. The importance of picking the right property for your input is that each property has a number of perks that pertain to its field or is related to it. For example, here we picked number. So when we click on the property again, and here, you have a list of operations or options you can pick from. In this sample page, under the numbers, they calculate the total sum of them, which makes sense considering the goal of a monthly budget calculator is to know the total in and the total of money out. So we click on our property, pick calculate, then more options, and then sum. Let us now give our database a title so it'll be easier to find through search. Now, for the second database, you could recreate one from scratch, or instead of reinventing the wheel, you can always make use of these dots next to each block. You click here and then duplicate without content, and voila! After that, you go back to the dots next to it, and this time you click and drag it up here until you see this blue line. Then release. We've recreated the databases and we are done with the basics of databases. We can now go into depth. I really wanted to recreate these as a small and simple introduction to this gem of an element that is the database in Notion. No, seriously, I personally believe they are the best that this app has to offer. So let's go back to the list of elements and then scroll down to our database section. We've talked about the view aspect of it, but the first one you will see in line is the table view, and I would personally advise you, if you are not sure of where you are going or what your goal with this database is, then I'd say start with a table view. It is much simpler, and with it, you can easily branch out and create other views once you've already organized your stuff in the table. Let's try a simple example. Let's say I have multiple ideas for future YouTube videos that I wish to make. I don't know how to go about things at first, so I will create a table view, and in the titles, I will write down the overall ideas. Let's go. Let me now give a title to this space, and voila. Now, I have my ideas, and as you've noticed, this little icon here is a page dedicated to this line alone. You can open it on the side, at the center of the screen, or full screen. These are perfect to brainstorm and script my video ideas. In fact, that is exactly how I script my actual videos. This example is something that I do actually use in real life. Alright, now that I have my ideas and their pages, I want to organize things a little bit better than this. I've already brought up properties and categories, and we've seen the use of some, such as the number property in the previous example with the budgeting page. But now I want to know where I am at with every video. What is my progress status? So I'm going to go ahead and select the status property. The first thing that happens is that I get these default states of not started. Let's change that, shall we? As you can see, when I click on the property and then edit property, we have these three default properties separated into three states: the to-do, the in progress, and the complete. I'm not going to touch the default one, but I'm going to go to the in progress state and add three statuses: brainstorm stage, script stage, and then the editing stage. I am going to give them each a color that I believe fits, and ta-da! Let's go back now to the table and see the result. Great! We now have our status, but I want to add a new column, a new property that calculates the number of days I have spent working on one specific idea since the day I switch from not started to brainstorm. Not only that, but I also wanted to stop counting from the day I switch to the status finished or complete. For that, I will add a new property. And among all of these different types, I will go for the one that has the ability, the one that is equipped to render such result. I will go with formula. In order to achieve the final result I have to create two additional columns or properties and pick the type date. The first one will be for the day I switch from not started to brainstorm. The second one will be when I finally switch to finish. These must unfortunately be done manually, as there is no way to link the dates here to the status in this property. Right. Once I have done that, I will go back to the formula column and go to this empty space where I will actually write my formula. This following structure will seem familiar to people that code. I do a little bit of coding for fun, but not much of it to just understand everything right off the bat. So, I had to do a lot of tweaking here, a lot of trial and error before finally reaching the desired result. And mind you, that was backed with a lot of research and crying. So, if the start date is empty, then it will give me a 0. But if we do have a start date while the complete date remains empty, then it will calculate the number of days since, well, the start date. However, if we have both dates, then it will stop counting. When you work with this formula property, you will quickly understand that there are so many options, so much to work with, that even I have not gotten to fully try. So again, a lot of trial and error and tweaking in order to find what you need from it. Now, if you have a specific idea in mind and you don't know how to construct the formula, this is where you can actually rely on AI. You can ask a specific question and give it all the details it needs in order to answer you. To me, this is the true power of AI, optimizing research. Okay, here's the best part. I just want this column. I don't want these 2 column dates. So, all I have to do is hide the property. Not delete it, hide it. You just click on the property and then go to hide. And ta-da! Of course, you must remember that when you change the status of your project from not started to brainstorm, you have to set the start date so that it will start counting. I just unhide it, set it, then hide it back. The same way, if I switched from editing to finished or complete, I will unhide this column, set the complete date, and then hide it back.
that I have shown you the potential properties, I'd like to move on to filters. For that, I will again use an example that I work with. I will duplicate this database without data, like we did before, and instead of video ideas, I will list my novel projects. It's like a general wiki of all of my projects, if you will. Same way, I will create a status, not started, blah, 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 blah. I will copy the same and add maybe reviewed additionally. But instead of a day count, I will add a filter that allows me to show only uncompleted works. Any completed or published works will be hidden. I'm not done yet. Here, instead of creating a copy, I will copy the link to this database. And under this, or in a different page, wherever you want it to be, I will put it under it. I will create a page. In this, I will paste the link, then pick copy of view, with one exception, the filter. Here, I will do the opposite. Instead of showing works in progress, I will only show completed and published works. Let's look at the final result. If I switch from review to complete, it disappears. In reality, it is just hidden. We will find it in the duplicate table for the completed projects. This is a snippet of the potential that filters have. If you utilize what you have between your hands, you can reach some really cool results. The way it works is that it follows usually property. You can pick the property you want to filter with and go from there. I have already mentioned the views of a database. If you click here, you can change the layout without creating a new view. But if you create a new view for the database, you will be able to switch between them here. This might not seem interesting, except I use this for my work schedule. Let me show you. First, on a new page, I will create a calendar view. Remember, in the beginning, I said that if you are not sure what to do or what your goal is, then go for table. But here, I know exactly what I want. I want a schedule, so I will create a calendar. Inside these squares, I pick the date that I want, and then click this little plus and add the task that I want to complete on said day. When you are done, you will end up with this. Okay, so I will duplicate it. Then move it side by side here, and then create a table view for the duplicate before deleting the calendar view. I will hide the date property and create a checkbox property. That way, every time I do a task, I will mark it as done. I can even go further and combine this with what I showed you before with filters. I want to only show the tasks that are not done yet. So I will filter them by property and select the checkbox property and decide that only unchecked boxes will show. Now, of course, I have only showed as much as I can. Take the information and apply them to your own needs. Here is how I have adapted Notion to my own needs. This is my workspace. But instead of just showing you it, how about I recreate my entire workspace for you to see how practical it all is. I wanted my workspace to look like a website that is easy to navigate, especially for someone like me who is easily distracted and forgetful. So as you can see, the first page in my original workspace is the daily page. So I'll start by creating a new one using its full width, and most importantly, always in 3 dots here, make it accessible offline. The second thing would be the obvious, as in the title of the page, the cover photo, and finally, the icon that I want. After that, I will go on to create my navigation bar. For that, nothing simpler than to just write the titles of the pages I want, separate them, and turn them into a heading 1 item. Pick the colors I want them to be. Now, to make them clickable, I will simply go back to my 3 dots over here, copy the link of my page, and then select the word before turning it into a link. And the only thing I dislike here is that I cannot remove this underline. Okay, we will deal with the rest of the links as we progress. But I am not done yet with this block, because here's the thing. Notice how this navigation bar exists on every page I created for my space. I did not recreate it 5 different times, nor did I copy and paste it. Instead, I turned this block into a synchronized block. The importance of this step will become apparent as I progress through this recreation, although the title synchronize is kind of self-explanatory. Next thing, right under the navigation bar, I have these 2 columns. The first one for a Pomodoro timer, and the second for my favorite playlist at the time. I can change it whenever I want. In order to add this timer, you simply Google your favorite Pomodoro timer, copy the link to it, and come back to Notion. You will simply type / scroll down, and pick Embedded. Paste the link, adjust it, and of course, change it into a synchronized block. I will repeat the same steps with my YouTube playlist, and I am done with the comment blocks. Now, for the body of the page. So, as the title suggests it, this page was meant to group all of the chores and tasks that I needed to accomplish daily. I started it a while after getting my diagnosis, and it really helped me a lot to keep up with things in my life when I was trying to bring change for the better after being basically lost for years. So, for the body here, I started with one of my favorite features, which is a call-out block. It's like a little section that allows me to add an icon to it and groups multiple items under it. It can literally contain any item and keep it separate from the rest of the elements on the page. So I pick the icon, the color of the block, and then the title of the block. Under it, I will start adding checkbox items and write my tasks on it. I found it really helpful to tick these boxes every time I finished with a task. It's like dangling a carrot in front of myself. At the time, it provided some motivation to accomplish them. I know this may sound ridiculous to someone neurotypical to need a checkbox for motivation, but I am way past being ashamed at this point. If it works and doesn't hurt anyone, then it works. I usually tick them as I am done with a task, and then at the end of the day, I untick them all and do it all over tomorrow. These are repetitive tasks. That's why I tick and untick them every day, basically. Next up is my work schedule, and by that I mean my writing schedule. First things first, I create a new page, give it a title, icon, and cover image. Then I go to my 3 dots, make the page available offline and in full width. I'll go back to my daily and copy the link to this synced block, the nav bar basically. I'll bring it over to the work schedule. I will copy the link of this page and then go turn this word into a clickable link. It'll redirect straight to my work schedule page. Now here's the magic of synced blocks. If I go back to my daily page, you will notice that this link that I just created on a different page works here too, so I don't have to bring any modification to my nav bar. It is synchronized. What that means is anywhere I paste it, it will be the same, not a copy. If I modify it on one page, it will change everywhere it exists. I will do the same with my two other synced blocks, timer and playlist. Okay, so for the core of the page, I have actually already explained it. Remember one of the examples I previously used about databases? I said that I was using examples from things I already and literally use in my own space. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste what I've already created before, since it's the same. Like I said before, I like to tick boxes once I'm done with a task. It provides me with some much needed dopamine. The next section, as you can see, is my projects page. This is where I list all of my projects, whether I have finished them or otherwise. I will go ahead and create a new page, then give it a title, do the whole song and dance, copy the link of the page and put it in Word. I will proceed to do the same thing with the synced blocks before finally reaching the core of the page. I have already explained how I keep track of my projects in a previous example with a database about ideas. So first I will create a database with a gallery view primarily, then straight after a table view. In the table view, of course, I will put the title of my books, then status, and lastly, the formula that I have used before in order to calculate the number of days working on a project. I will, of course, need the date columns that I will hide the same way I did before. The one thing that I'd like to do here is give these project pages cover images. This will be important later. I already made a video about how I structure and keep track of my stories. So, for example, here is the page of my recently finished web novel. Yes, I finished it. Over 600,000 words. But that's a story for another video. I can show this one at least, and how I organize the different chunks of content based on where they belong. Here, for example, this property used to be available for the free plan to link towards a Google document or Drive, but now it requires upgrading to the paid plan. Now, the new thing that I want to focus on here is the gallery view. As you can see, I get one card for each project, but I want to make things a little bit better looking than this, so I click on settings, and among all of these, I will go for layout. And then we have these options such as show the title of the card, show the icon, but what I want to see happens here. The card options, and more importantly display the card cover, and hop, voila. This is why I insisted on giving each project a cover image. Here are my two views for this database. The social media page is self-explanatory. It has the same components at the top and another database containing my social media links. Now, the challenge page is one that I can simply show you instead of recreate. We have the NaNoWriMo 2024, which I made a video about, where I tracked my daily word count. Here is the base I've crafted, with the title of the chapters, the date, as well as the word count of each chapter. I was not able to do a 2025 NaNoWriMo since I was very busy with a lot of changes that took place in my life. Another thing that I would suggest if you have an overcrowded page or long document is to go over here and turn the table content button on. It helps you keep track of what you put on a page as long as you use the title element. I believe I have gone over the essentials I needed to showcase. I do hope all of this explains my initial statement and comparison of Notion to a spacious, undivided closet. You've seen how I molded my space to my own image, and you can experiment on your own time in order to figure out what you want to do with it. Of course, I did not go over everything that it has to offer, but this glimpse should be enough for you to launch your own journey on the app. Whether you're a writer, a musician, coder, you can make Notion pages to reflect your own needs and wants. You can see a few more things, such as going here and down to the layout of the page. This allows you to organize the blocks in your page or add new ones. For me, there is something that I wanted to do for a while, but forgot to, which is to hide this section here about comments, since I'm working alone anyways. So I will simply click here and hide it. The one thing I'd like to add, however, has to do with the formula property. If you want a simpler starter with formulas, I will advise you to visit the marketplace and then go to formulas. Many formulas for various purposes have already been shared by other users. As a starter, like I said, you may find just what you need through this long list that you can obtain for free. Some of them might be for sale, but you can see which are for free and which aren't. In fact, you will find many templates that might suit your needs at the beginning when you are most disoriented. The export function is something I feel I need to bring up in case you wish to save your creation on your device and then share it in a specific place or a specific way later on. You can save your pages as Markdown, an HTML page, or PDF. You may opt to include subpages and even create folders to organize them. In the end, the best advice I can give when using Notion or any software really is to open your eyes. Look at everything it offers and click on them buttons to experiment them firsthand. I think I have said enough already, and it is time for me to let you explore the field freely. If you do have specific questions to ask, please do ask away. I have no problem answering any if I can, and I even have no problem making another video to explain even more features in case I wasn't clear enough or skipped some things. For those of you that have watched until the very end, I thank you. I truly appreciate it. If you found this helpful and if you think my content might interest you going further, then leave a like and subscribe for more of me in the future. But until then, please take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye-bye.